Well, it's yet another great day, and today we have numeracy. Our strand and our substrand remain the same in our previous lesson. Our strand algebra and our substrand algebraic expressions, okay? But today we are precisely going to look at algebraic expressions for area of shapes. Last week we solved algebraic expressions for perimeter of shapes, okay? So now when we talk about area is the space the surface occupies, or area is the space occupied by the surface. So for instance, when you take this plane shape, okay, the surface over here, okay, is what? The area. The surface over here is the area. So area is the space the surface occupies. The surface occupies. So in the whole of this place is the area of this plane shape. I believe you are clear with it. Alright then. So let's move on. Today we are actually going to look at two shapes over here. We're going to look at rectangle and triangle. Okay, so we are going to look at the area of a rectangle and the area of a triangle. Okay, we are talking about algebraic expressions. All right then. So to find the area of a rectangle, let's first and foremost look at the shape over here. Okay, so the longer part is what? The length, and then the shorter part is the width. Okay, so when you take this one, for instance, a rectangle, the longer part is called the length, and then the shorter part is called the width or the breadth. Okay, the width or the breadth. The longer part, so here is the same as here, and here the same as here. I believe you are clear with it. Thank you very much. So as you can see over here, so length and what? Width or breadth. So length is represented by the letter L, and then the width by the letter W, and the breadth B. Okay, I hope you're clear with it. So you can either use width or breadth for the shorter side. Okay, so the area of a rectangle is length times width. Okay, length times width, or length times breadth. So in short, A is equal to what? A, that's the area of a rectangle, and then L times what? Width. Length times width, or length times breadth. Alright, so I hope you are clear with the formula for finding the area of a rectangle. So that is length times what? Width. Now let's move on to the triangle. Now the triangle also, we have the side over here that is beneath is called what? The base. The bottom. Okay, the base. Bottom of this shape is what? The base, and then this side is what? The height. Okay, so the formula for finding the area of a triangle is half times base times height. So this side is the height, and then the base. So height is represented by the letter H, and then base is represented by the letter B. Okay, so the formula for finding the area of a triangle is half times base times height. So in short, A is equal to half times what? Base times height. So half times B times what? Height. I believe you are clear with it. So let's quickly look at some examples over here. So let's quickly look at our first example. Now we have a plane shape that is a rectangle. Okay, so the longer part is 5, and then the shorter part is x. Looking at algebraic expressions. Okay, so our formula, as we've already looked at, that is area is equal to the area of a rectangle is equal to length times width. Okay, is equal to length times width. So our length over here, as you can see, is 5. This is it. And our width or breadth, that is x. Okay, so area is what? 5 times x. So our final answer is what? 5x. Our previous lessons, I said that when you are multiplying a variable and then a number, okay, irrespective of the position of the variable and the number, make sure that the variable comes, the number comes first before the variable. So for instance, 5 times x will give us 5x, or x times 5 is still 5x. I hope you are clear with it. It is commutative. So irrespective of the position of the number or the variable, make sure that the number comes first before the variable. So if you have 2 times x is 2x, x times 3 is what? 3x, and 3 times x is still what? 3x. Alright, so let's move on to our next example, that is finding the area of this triangle. And our height over here is y, and our base is what? 12. And the formula for finding the area of a triangle is half times base times height. Half times base times height. And as you can see over here, our base is what? 12. So half times our base 12 times our height, which is what? Y. Okay? So from there, we are supposed to simplify this. Now we have what? Half, 1 over 2 fraction times what? A whole number 12 times what? Y. Okay? And I once told you guys that when we have a number standing on its own, okay? On its own, in a fraction form is what? You write the number over what? 1. So if you have 12, in the fraction it becomes what? 12 over 1. If you have what? X, it becomes what? X over 1. If it is y, y over 1. If it is 10, it becomes 10 over what? 1. To put it in a fraction form. So any number divided by 1 is that same number. Any variable divided by 1 is that same variable. So 6 divided by 1 is 6. Let's say a variable like a. A divided by 1 is still what? A. X divided by 1 is what? X. 20 divided by 1 is what? 20. I believe you are clear with that. So over here, we are supposed to simplify this. So 1 over 2 times. So we are supposed to just put this in the fraction form. So 1 over 2 times 12 over 1 times y over 1. Okay? So we simplify this. We know that our 2 will go into itself 1 time. Okay? And 2 can also go into 12 6 times. Okay? So where we have what? 1 times 1 over 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. 1 divided by 6 divided by 1 is what? 6. And y divided by 1 is what? Y. I believe you are clear with it. So it becomes what? 1 times 6 times y. And 1 times 6 is what? 6. 1 times 6 is what? 6. And then 6 times y will give us what? 6y. Okay? 6 times y will give us 6y. I believe you are clear with it. So we simplify when you get to this side. 2 will itself 1. Okay? Or 2 divided by 2 is what? 1. And then 12 divided by 2 is 6. Or how many times will 2 go into 12? Which is what? 6. And then times y. So 1 times 6 times y, because it's over 1 over 1. Any number divided by 1 or variable divided by 1 is the same number or the same variable. I believe you are clear with that. Now let's move on to our next third example. This one, it comprises or it consists of 2 different shapes. Okay, we have a triangle, a rectangle, and then what? A triangle. So triangle, and then a rectangle in the middle. Okay, so over here we all know the formula for finding the area of a triangle. That is half times the base times the height. Okay, half times base times height. So over here, this is the base. From here to here is the base. From here to here is the base. And then so far as here is k. Okay, this place I explained it earlier that the size, the width over here, the value of the width over here is the same as the value over here. So far as here is k, here is also what? K. Okay, the width here is also k. So far as here is k, this place is also what? K. I believe you are clear with it. So far as here is k, this place is k. Since here is 6, so this place will be 6. I'm not going to jump. But I hope you are clear with it. Now, let's quickly move on to how to go about this. Okay, so area of, let's solve for this triangle and we'll solve for the rectangle and then this triangle too. So area of a triangle is half times the base times height as well. We have y. So half times this base, this is 2. This is it, times the height is k. Okay, plus, so we are adding. Okay, we are adding the whole of this. We did perimeter the other time. So plus, now the area of finding the rectangle is what? Length times what? Width. So our length here is 6. The length here is 6 times the weight, which is k. Okay, so over here too, we have our height to be k, and then our weight, our base to be 2. So half times base times height. So our base here is 2 and our height here is what, k. So from there you simplify. So 2 will go into self 1 and go into self here to 1. So you have what, 1 times k. This is 1 times 1 times k. Then 6 times k will give us what, 6k. 6 times k is 6k. And then we have the same solution over here. Okay, applies to this one. So half times base, which is 2 times the height, which is k. Okay, so 2 here 1, 2 here 1. So half times, so that will be what, 1 times 1 times k, as you can see over here. So from there, 1 times 1 gives us what, 1. 1 times k is what, k. 1 times any variable, you don't say 1k, or let's say 1 times k is, you don't say 1k, you mention what, only the variable. 1 times any variable, you mention only the variable, don't mention 1 and then what, the variable. I believe you are clear with it. So 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times k is what, k, plus our 6k, and then here too, 1 times 1 is 1 times 1 times k is what, k. So from there, you add all of this. You can easily add because they are the same, they look alike. So let's say this one is an orange, k is an orange. Let's use orange to represent the variable. So orange, orange, orange. So if you're adding, let's this one is 1 orange, 6 oranges plus 1 orange. Okay, so 1 orange plus 6 oranges give us what, 7 oranges plus 1 orange. So 7 oranges plus 1 orange give us what, 8 oranges. So k plus 6k plus k give us what, 8k. So k plus 6k is what, 7k. 7k plus k is what, 8k. I hope you are clear with it. Thank you very much. So now let's move on to our last example. Okay, our last example here, we have two plane shapes. Okay, plane figures. You have a triangle and then a triangle. This one is horizontal and this one is vertical. Okay, so don't be confused. Okay, always bear in mind that the longer part is the height, and then the shorter part, the longer part, when it comes to rectangle, the longer part is what, the length, and then the shorter part is what, the width, okay, or the breadth. So over here we have 9, the longer part, and then y over here. Okay, and then here we have 6, the shorter part, and then 2y, the longer part. Okay, so now we know that the area of a rectangle is length times height. So our length is what, 9 centimeters, as you can see, times y, all in brackets. Okay, all in brackets. Put in the bracket to make your work very nice. So all in brackets. So 9 times the width, which is y, plus, now for this how do you call it, shape, same rectangle, the length over here, the longer part is 2y times the shorter part, which is 6. Okay, so from there we multiply the numbers in the brackets. Okay, so 9 times y will give us what, 9y, plus 2y times 6 will give us what, 12y. Okay, 2y times 6 is what, 12y. 2y times 6 is 12y. And from there you add. You can easily add because they look alike. Y is y is. So 9y plus 12y will give us 21y. So these are final example. Our final example for our final answer for example 4. Okay, our final answer for example 4. So the area of the whole of this is 21y. So as you can see, for this is 5x, example 2 is 6y, and example 3 is 8k, and example 4 is 21y. So my lovely learner, I'm so grateful once again, and thank you for this time, and I pray that as you watch this short lesson, you'll be able to understand and whatever be the case, just let me know. Okay, so I wish you the very best, and on this note, stay blessed. Bye bye.